Yeah, good morning. This is Giuseppe Gagliano. I'm from Italy, and I'm representing 17 Tones. It's a innovative startup.
Thank you. How are you, Hajishwa Bashu?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good to
Good,
have
good
you,
morning
good to
to
have you
all.
today. How are you, Saeed?
Yes, I'm good. Thanks. I'm here in Toulouse, outside of Toulouse, by the Lake Ganges. Uh, the sun is about to come up right there. It's good to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you to have you. So this panel, the topic is zero mobility carbon. This is how things will go. I will give a quick overview of of this webinar that will last for 60 minutes. First of all, I will make a short introduction of the core feature of EUTech. Secondly, I will introduce our panelists today. They will share their valuable experience. And thirdly, the public will be able to ask questions, and I'm sure our panelists will be happy to answer. But before that, I will just share with you guys a little video of the Smart Cities Alliance. Great. Let's go back to our presentation. Good. So now let's present EUTech. So we started 6 years ago as the European Technology Chamber. Today we have members across the globe. Our vision is technology obliged. Now you can see our organizational structure. We have regional alliances, tech alliances, and impact alliances. So today you attend to the Smart Cities webinar that I am the coordinator. So each alliance has many webinars at least once a month. It reaches to 200 webinars per year. We are also working on hybrid events and physical events. Hope to see you there. Past year, we reached 50,000 registration. 90% of the people that come are company owners and decision makers. As you can see in the right, the topic has chosen wisely to educate, inform, impact, and resolve worldwide major issues. We create more than 400 meetings every year. We are trying to connect people also in our business opportunity meeting. I hope I will see you there. And you can have access to our panelists. The speaker can raise up their profile on our platform, and also for the company you are working on EU project and also funding. So this is the EU tech ecosystem. So it's divided inside program and tech forum. We produce white papers and position papers, also a vision for Europe magazine. We have for our members some newsletters and EU tenders. We have our dynamic social media that support climate action partnership. We also have SDGs Award. I'm in charge of the SDGs Award, so feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any question regarding that. We have individual booths or expos. We are working on physical event too. By the year 2022, we will host our physical event across Germany. And we made a lot of interactions and help our members to manage their own events. If you need to deal with us, please please feel free to contact us, of course. And this is our matchmaking tool where you can, if you become a member, you can have access to our database and also potential partners for your business and for your work, the work that you are doing, and also to change makers. So this is the, if you want to reach out to us, you have the email, you have the LinkedIn. Feel free to write down to us. We will be happy to help you and happy to, yes, to discuss with you and happy to see how we can do things together, of course. Okay, so now is the time for me to introduce our panelists today. So let me go back to you. I will start with you, Rajeshwar. His name is Rajeshwar. He's the founder of Zero Carbon, where he wants to reduce digital carbon emission to zero. He's a co-founder of 42 Acts. He is able to bridging the gap between the promises and action. He is ready to give every minute of his time to save the planet. His passion is to transform the world and the environment by carrying the torch for the future expert sustainability and climate action, as well as creative problem solver, startup mentor, and coach who has advised more than 100 startups and here 50,000 startup ideas. Nice to have you, Rajeshwar. Now I'm going with Sahid Sesay. He is a skilled engineer and entrepreneur. He has assisted governments and Fortune 500 companies around the world in understanding and delivering secure, highly reliability computing and electronic information systems. His current focus on the design and implementation and deployment of automated sensor data capture and analytics solution for industrial IoT projects, specializing in secure edge to anywhere, electronic transaction processing for cloud and big data solution. Happy to have you again, Saeed. Now I'm going with Giuseppe Gagliano. He's a passionate 51 years innovator of business model, digital and ICT technologies. His expertise hinges around the transition of companies toward growth and development path. With the sustainable impact throughout his career, he gained international and domestic experience in large multinationals, small companies, and startups, in which he is currently a founder. Giuseppe's agility to learn and curiosity toward the evolution of man is the spirit that guides and motivates him. He holds an engineering degree in telecommunication and competence in the creation of technological solutions and services that focus on people, the planet, and distribution profits. Good. We have a very brilliant panel. So now, Rajeshwar, you are our keynote speaker. So I will give you the floor. Let me just upload your presentation, and now you will be free to give us the speech, and also we really can't wait to learn about your project. So now you are the presenter. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, all. My name is Rajeshwar, and I'm the founder of Zero Carbon and co-founder of 42 Hacks. Today, I would like to discuss about the smart cities transition towards the zero carbon mobility. And most of the people think zero carbon mobility is mostly like Tesla cars or electric cars, but it's not. The zero carbon mobility means not only the cars, but also you can use bicycles and you can use trains too. So coming to zero carbon mobility in smart cities, so developing smart cities is not only about having the smartness in the city, but also deploying the cutting edge technologies in reduction of emissions, because that's more important for the future to fight the climate change and also achieve sustainability locally in the city level. So it's more important to have zero carbon mobility and implementing the cutting edge technologies, and also taking account into the economic and social perspectives, and also putting the planet and people in the first, rather than having the the profit on the first goal or the first milestone. So there are 4 ways. Basically, first one is to use renewable energy sources to bring any smart city into smart city, plus also zero emission reduction to the city level. And one is to introduce renewable energy sources, and also increase the energy efficiency, plus also put on more intelligent grids, install new intelligent grids, and also promote green jobs, and also encourage people to understand, also create awareness at the same time, because most people don't know what is renewable energy and non-renewable energy, and also why the fossil fuels are more taking part in the world. And also that makes more sense to create awareness among the people to who use renewable energy sources and renewable energy sources. And also we might also have to do advancements in renewable energy sources. I would go with regenerative energy sources if it is possible in the smart cities. That makes more sense, and for the future it's more effective if we have a regenerative energy storage systems and energy systems. And the second part is to implement the innovative tech. There are so many innovative techs one can implement, like cutting edge technologies like driverless cars and intelligent transport systems and all the stuff. And also, you can also have in the smart city smart food, like vertical farming firms, and new technologies that can help to grow food locally, and also in the all the different areas of the requirements of the cities. But the end of the day, innovative tech can only help to extent, but also the innovative tech also should be the having the zero emissions scope in the mind, and as well as the planet and the people in the first case, rather than just having the innovative tech implementation. That doesn't make any sense, because most of the innovative tech today also still uses the fossil fuel run uh, digital sources like data centers and cloud servers. So it's also one of the biggest problem, even if you have a smart cities. But still, if the innovative tech is not supportive for zero carbon or zero emissions driven industry. And the third one is to encourage the sustainable mobility. As you know, the sustainable mobility is the trains, your bicycles, and also the public transit, basically. And you can make the public transit also hybrid and electric, and that's also makes more effectiveness. And for example, if you fly by aeroplane from A to B, it is at least 600 kgs of carbon emissions. And if you just travel by train, it is like point 1.5 kg or 2 kgs carbon emissions. So it's very less. And if you are thinking of smart cities with zero carbon mobility, then you should also think about like a short distance trains, and also the bicycling in the neighborhood, and also more giving more place to walking, and so many other things. And you also can implement innovative tech to create awareness and bring people towards the sustainable mobility. For example, if the train stations is nearby to the home, then people will choose more trains. And if the train ticket costs less, then people will choose public transport more frequently. So this is also more important for the future for zero emissions transition in smart cities, basically. And these should be also intelligent, I would say. Maybe you can also call them like cars or taxis. If you can press a button on your mobile phone, if also train comes to you in nearby your street, that's also smart way to you can just travel. That's also very important for the future, to reduce the time of travel, and travel effectively, sustainably, and with zero emissions. And the fourth one is to encourage the collaboration. And in this way, we can collaborate with many different companies, organizations, as well as cities as well. And also, maybe we can create a challenge between the five top cities in Europe or something like that, and create. Learn from each other and collaborate with each other, and bring the innovative tech to the city, and also implement those technologies um, in the local level and in the city level too. And it can also fund the initiatives, and it can give the all the different types of public and private partnerships. And it helps in building the platforms, as well as it helps to grow and also become smart. And but also at the same time, smart cities with zero emissions is one of a big of kind task to to understand. So one have to really go deep dive into this topic and understand the reality and how to implement these things with collaborations. And at the end, what we all should do is to measure the progress. If you are having the smart mobility and sustainable mobility and zero emission mobility, just try to measure the progress with maybe artificial intelligence tools or machine learning tools. How many people have been shifted from cars to trains in order to understand the progress? How many people are really interested in sustainable mobility, or what is the requirement of zero emission mobility in that areas? And that helps a lot to measure. And after measuring, you can also try to create some new ideas and challenges to bring the people and onto the trains or sustainable mobility in the smart cities that makes the emissions very lesser, and also make your city more healthier, because when you have less emissions, you are more healthier. And then it's almost like your country is giving you, like if you compare some statistics, the people in Delhi in India, back in India, have less lifespan than the people in Switzerland because of the air pollution. So if your city is smart and has less pollution, then I think you're also benefiting health wise and life expectancy wise. And the actions will be smart cities to develop effective zero emission transportation, will assist the lower carbon emissions and lowering pollution, as well as enhancing public health, what I discussed. So the public health is more important for a country also, and also the city, to have the citizens live in the cities of smart cities. So not the robots, but let's say the people to live in the smart cities. And yeah, I appreciate your attention to my presentation. And that's all. If you have any questions, yeah, you can ask me.
Thank you, Rajeshwar, for this great presentation. I understand that it's very important to have to think about the public health before making any profit and all that. So I'm taking back the presenter now, and also I will now when I take the presenter back, because we have a schedule to follow. So now I will go to Sahid. Say, but before that, please feel free to put your question on the public chat. I see that there is already one question, so feel free to put it on the public chat, and I know that our panelists today will be happy to answer it. You can also, for the panelists, you can go on the public chat while you are not talking and tape the response, or we will do it already while we talk. So now I will give the floor to Sahid, because I have one question for you, Sahid. With all the solution of Smart Connect as deployed, which ones do you think help most with attaining smart mobility towards zero carbon emission?
Hey, thanks, Frederick. Thanks, Rajeshwar. That's a good rundown on, well, I take the last few slides really personally, lowering emissions, pollution to enhance our existence, and we all have the 0 in our eyesight. Achieving zero is not easy, but lowering these numbers are very important, and they're a good way in terms of utilizing renewable energies and technology. At the end of the day, there's manufacturing going on somewhere where carbon sources are used to provide those materials, even in solar panels, So the absolute part of zero is not, but the lowering is where it's at. Really, it's great. And like you said, also encouraging the public. Last time in Germany, when they reduced the ticket prices, more people went by train than driving, And So at Smart Connect, we'll actually deploy a lot of solutions out there, we believe, that are helping with reducing emissions, pollutions, you know. Of course, public agencies use our system to monitor industry for pollution. So that's one direct cause right there. Some people who are polluting, they could not catch them with our system. The public agencies can capture data and prove that they have been polluting, and then they will stop polluting or they change their practices in the industries. But in a more indirect way, we think that the efficient utilization of existing tools, materials, we are being support of. For example, for fleet management, we help cities to do predictive maintenance on their fleet systems. I mean, they can more effectively utilize those machines if they can implement predictive maintenance solutions, capture more data points, analyze them, and they're ahead of the curve. They can streamline the ratio of mechanics, maintenance support people to the machines that they have and they use. And so that has been a very good one, we believe. We have some counties implement predictive maintenance for the machines. Others we believe, also remote monitoring. Smart city, as you said, it encompasses a whole lot of things, basically. You know? So there are the city people, not only city, even private industry, people drive around a lot for their work. And sometimes the driving is just to go and get data or to inspect a place and then go back. Well, if you put there are electronic monitoring processes you put into place that people don't have to go there as often. So instead of going there every month, every week, they can go there less, but they still have access remotely to those places. That dovetails into people working from home, you know. And there are some companies now, they are using their giving people days to work from home as part of their carbon entitlement, basically. You know, if you work two days from home, you can put it down like they are reducing the emissions, basically, from driving and that. But just the remote monitoring capabilities, there were some resistances. One agency, the guy used to get the government vehicle. He would go every 2 weeks to get the data and inspect the place, and he would bring his keys to go camping. When put in the system, he was resisting. So I kind of figured out he was resisting. We got together with him, and he said, "Well, I go camping every 2 weeks." So we convinced him that it can go camping every 4 to 6 weeks, you know, not every 2 weeks. Anyway, they put in the system, and then he did reduce his camping rate. And later we caught up 6 months later. He said it was really good. His kids were happier because he was not dragging them out camping every 2 weeks. They were going every 6 weeks, and the kids were happy about that, basically. So it worked out. The FDA sends people to inspect factories, you know, and then there was in San Francisco, the weird things happen when the government inspector comes to site, you know. So if, again, those remote places, factories, industry can be monitored remotely, the data is there, there's less need for agencies to come to physical inspections, and again, that reduces the number of visits and, of course, emissions and overall. So the two main things, like, really we have helped with the fact that we're helping to utilize existing materials much more efficiently. When you have insight into your operation, you have a better utilization effect on it, and also having remote access to places, to data that you can bring in and analyze is helping with across the board, basically, with reducing emissions, pollution, of course, monitoring for compliance. That's a direct effect. It's not in our hands, it's just agents that do that. So if you have any questions, I'll take them for specifics of those projects. But we have been very happy that we can contribute and add value in bringing, easily bringing cost-effective remote monitoring and efficient utilization of equipment and assets to industry, to cities, smart cities, and
Thank you, Said, for this great presentation. And also, don't forget on the public to put your question in the public chat so we can discuss about that. It would be great to hear from you. So now I will reach to the third and not at least panelist, Giuseppe. I have a question for you, Giuseppe, actually. How do you manage the traceability of carbon and why it's beneficial for smart cities transition to zero carbon? The floor is yours.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for this. Thanks to Rajesh and Said. So yeah, before to jump into the point and the question, I would like to say that first of all, the meaning of smart in the city. What is smart? What is a smart city? Because for me, smart means something that is intelligent enough. And now we are in the era that we have to change the behavior. So before to think about technology, smart is how we interact with the system. And the system is complex. And the name is ecosystem. So we are in an ecosystem, okay? And this is the consciousness that we have to develop before to move forward to understand how to live in a better way. Say that it is important that we value the natural capital that we have, and we have to respect and increase the natural capital, because at the end of the day, everything that we do every day is based on natural capital. And actually, there's be a very great framework adopted by 90 nations in the world. The name is System Environmental Economic Accounting, that give the chance to monitor how much natural capital we use to transform this kind of energy into products and then into profit. So I made these premises because it's so important that we are on the same page. We in the planet are on the same page, understanding the concept of something that they need to be smart or smarter today, like a smart city. So say that Rajesh mentioned 5 points. I took 3 of them. That is, implement innovative technology, encourage collaborations, measure progress. So now, if we understand that we are in an ecosystem, it's so important that when we wake up in the morning, then we think that we are breathing because we have trees that produce oxygen for us. And at the same time, they sequester CO2, so carbon. So if we are in a city now, the temperature increased up to 6 degrees. And you know that we need to work to stay under 1.5 degrees in the planet. And actually, we achieved already 1.5 degrees. The mission is today to stay in there and stay under the 2 degrees Celsius. So it's so important that now we value the natural capital and what are the services generated by the natural capital, even in the cities. It's so important in the cities. Natural capital generates for the humanity what are called ecosystem services. So having the oxygen, sequestering the CO2 is an ecosystem service. mitigating temperature is another ecosystem services, okay? So when we design new cities, they need to be smart in this meaning, understanding that we are in ecosystem. It's so important that we use technology to track the benefits, and in a journey that board need to be designed above what we call life cycle assessment. So if we design a new way for the mobility using electric car or whatever, it's not only about an electric car, it's about a life cycle assessment. So it means what's the impact adopting new kind of technology to move within the city, into the city. So what we've been experimenting in 17 tones. First of all, well, we computed the impact. Okay, and we say to live every day, each of us, we are 7, impact for 8.5 ton of CO2 in a year. So we say that then we need to avoid to emit 8.5 tons of CO2. But avoiding today, the avoidance is not enough. So even if we use electric car instead of the older, the traditional one, and we do avoidance, so we do not emit tons of CO2, but we do not achieve the mission, okay? Because we need to remove CO2. We need to remove CO2. So then in 17 tons, this is the name. 17 is about 8.5 tons of CO2 avoidance and engagement to remove the equivalent, to reduce the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere that stay there for 1,000 years. So when we work we have a numbers of initiatives in the smart cities, and we have been pushing forward the concept of smart city forestry. Okay, it means that if we design a new city, then we could use an intelligent natural capital that at the end of the day are trees today. And if we are able to monitor the trees, and this is what we do, we use IoT technology to monitor trees directly in the field, understanding how much the trees can sequester CO2, what's the status of the trees, the movement of the trees, and then correlating data from the trees and from the satellite. Then we have the digital twins of the area of the smart city. And in this extension of the meaning of a digital twins, we can understand how much the natural capital, the trees, are compensating the impact generated by the human being, okay, even the mobility. With this kind of information, we put all this information injected into not fungible token into the blockchain. So we notarize the information and we track from the origin, I mean, from the trees to the blockchain, how much the trees are generating value. Because if we put the evidence of the value generated by the natural capital in the city, compared to the impact of the mobility and the human being, then we can show how much is so important understanding the ecosystem and to offer to the carbon market, the voluntary carbon market, a real value generated by the trees, okay? Because we can prove that the trees are there and are generating value, fruits, in terms of carbon absorption, okay? And then we can increase, we can use this information within the NFT to exchange carbon credit properly, avoiding greenwashing, and put the evidence that the carbon, the forestry that has been digitalized is generating value for the city. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is the journey.
Great. Thank you, Giuseppe, for this great presentation. Because I heard something that is very important about what you say. It's about changing behavior to make it more sustainable for everyone, and also to implement more systems in the smart cities that will help us to live in a more sustainable environment. So I will get back to you, Rajeshwar, but before that, I see that in the public chat is pretty active. That's good. So keep continue to talk. I see you, Dele, raise your hand, but you can't talk, so you can put what you want to say on the public chat. So feel free to say, I see that our panelist is responding, and that's great. But get back to you, Rajeshwar. I have a question for you.
Yeah, I have seen it from Bahaman. So he was talking about biofuels and plantation wood pellets as a renewable energy sources. And for me, it's fine to use, but the problem is how natural it is. One side, you can't grow it under city, and you have to grow near the ocean or plantations for biofuels and so on. And on the other hand, if you use the ocean or for not natural ecosystems like what we did with the land, like agriculture, so aren't we disturbing the ocean ecosystem or river ecosystem? That's also biggest question, because of our sustaining of the planet, we also need the oceans and water. So you can use it, and then on the other hand, it should not be like creating a farm just for biofuels and just destroying it. It's not like we also need the land for the food cultivation and all the pulses and whatever it is for the requirement of the nature and for us. So I feel like it's not only biofuels, but also just think about different ways what we can do. Like when you come back a little to the 19th century, you understand what is the definition of the energy and so on, and how much emissions we have to build the rails everywhere. So, but the thing is, today's trains are not using the infrastructure very well across Europe also, because in Switzerland we are working with 42 hacks. We have working with Switzerland railway companies right now, and there the people have the problems with the trains because they don't have direct trains from A to B. And now we are trialing the direct trains from A to B, because the people are suffering they want to travel with trains, but the problem is they are getting late to the work, like because of the in between stops and all the other stuff. So we started asking the people and started to use the present what do you say, environment and ecosystem which is already present, and no need to produce new railway tracks and so on, to use effectively and efficiently and measuring the progress. We are creating new railway connections between A and B. So that's also more important in sustainable mobility. And I think there are some questions to Shahid.
Thank you for this answer. I want to get back to you, Saeed, because I have a question for you, and I think it's very, very relevant question, and help us more understand the challenge that we are facing. So, what solution are you aware of that could help with attaining smart mobility towards zero carbon emission?
Well, when you say zero carbon, what I think is zero commute, because if you don't commute, However, zero is a really high, almost unattainable, because when you look at the solar panels, the renewable energy, all those materials are manufactured, right? So there's an effect there that we're probably not even looking at, And like Joseph said, the whole life cycle of those materials, where they end up and how we discard them when you put it all together. So what I really think about is reduced mobility is really where it's at, to be able to have access. So, for example, I mean, we know in the pandemic, but during COVID, We had clean skies, the air quality was great, you know what I'm saying? So do we really need to be at work 5 days a week, go from A to B, is that really necessary, essential? The other 2-3 days you can feed the chickens while you're talking on the phone, or having a Zoom call, or the kids, take them A to B basically. So yeah, overall it comes down to really say the more people using the same means of transport, or by the public transport, making it more efficient, predictive maintenance and all that stuff to keep it going, more efficient. And of course, reduce individual mobility, really, reduce individual mobility. If we look at reduced individual mobility, increased and efficient public transport, we can start to see reduction in emissions, and can see more clear skies. It's not a pandemic, more birds flying and singing for us, basically.
Great. So it's more, if I understand you, it's more about, stop the individuals and think about the community and how we can interact together by different modes, not only going to, like you said, to your work every day, but also think about the new way to work, actually, and new relation to work also. So very great, very great. I'm going now to Giuseppe with one question. Giuseppe, can you tell me what are the ecosystem services you can measure and evaluate, and to which extent this data can tell us about the pollution and health risk avoidance, please?
Yeah. I'm going to answer, but I see that John raised the question to me. It's about the impact. So the question is about using technology at the end of the day, and digital technology, you generate the impact as well. Okay, yes, of course. And this is why I mentioned life cycle assessment. Life cycle assessment is a framework that is needed to understand the impact and the leakage. Okay, so of course it's part of the project designed. Okay, so it is so important. But and saying this, I would like to add, because you raised question about the impact producing iron, steel, etc. Yes, of course, for 1 ton of steel, 1.85 tons of CO2 are emitted, of course, yes. I would like to mention that agriculture is worst, because intensive agriculture today has a negative effect in terms of CO2, because in the intensive agriculture, we do not stock carbon and we emit more CO2 than that is sequestered. And it's worse than the cycle of steel production, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. So coming back to the question, ecosystem services, one of the important today, I've been working in a project for a city where we are trying to correlate the information for the predictability of the impact. It means correlating information about the traffic, about parking, about the weather, and the capacity to compensate and offsetting the CO2 emission. What are the effect for the people, for the society? Okay, this is within the ESG paradigm, because we have been talking about the environment, of course, but then we need to talk about the social. So what's the impact for the health of the people having a city polluted and crowded? Okay, because this is the effect. So how much mitigating temperature for the people impact in a positive way for the health? This is one of the ecosystem services that need to be measured properly. It's a journey. Okay, personally today we have no the answer, because it's simple to say today we have numbers of in the literature studies that states that if you buy a house close to trees in a city, then the house is much expensive than another, because it reduces 30% the impact of heating and cooling. Okay, so let's think about this important point. Okay, so ecosystem services within the city are numbers of those, and when we use probes attached to the trees, okay, that with accelerometer, we understand the movement of the trees, and so the risk avoidance of the drop down of the trees, and this impact in the prevention, okay, is a positive impact. Okay, so and the other one is reducing, mitigate the quantity of concrete. Okay, because numbers of issues that we have been experiencing, even in Italy, unfortunately, is the flooding. Okay, in the cities. Okay, because we have not enough land and soil to absorb water. Okay, and the negative cycle of the scarcity during the summer impact for this kind of absorption of the water as well. And the chance to monitor, for instance, the humidity of the soil is a good trigger, understanding if we are going in the right path or not, and we need to work out with such kind of solutions. Okay, so yeah, those are type of ecosystem services that we are going to measure and correlate with also the traffic and the behavior and the commuting into the city.
Very great. Thank you for this contribution. This leads me go back to Rajeshwar for one question. Rajeshwar, for you, which mobility is best for smart cities?
I think it's trains mostly, or public transport, because it's more. See, the question always comes to as an effective person thinking about all the problems. What I think is, like, there is also two different types of CO2 molecules. One is synthetic CO2. One is which is coming from carbon emissions from automobiles or industries and so on. So one is the carbon emissions which we are releasing when we breathe in oxygen. So, for example, why didn't the Earth's atmosphere warmed up, or why didn't the other people get ill when we have breathed out? All the people across the world have breathed out CO2. Just imagine. So why we are getting health issues? Because of the synthetic CO2 today, the air pollution and all the stuff, oceans getting warmed up, ice is melting up. So the thing is, like, for me, the zero carbon emissions is all about reduction of synthetic carbon emissions, not the carbon emissions from humans, not the carbon emissions from the trees and so on. So this is the basic thing I just want to mention. And I feel like the carbon emissions from the trains and the public transportations are very less compared to the individual mobility. And for the individual mobility to reduce, we have in the 42 hacks, we have come up with some ideas, great ideas. One is like, give away your car for 30 days and you get the public transportation ticket with along with a e-bike for 30 days free of cost. So when you give away your car, you get the stuff what you want, like public, and you travel with the public transport, and it's an experience again. Once you have a good experience with it, you continue with it. So in the smart cities also, I would say the zero emissions would be helpful. And I think I have seen a question from Maria here, real. And I think she said she talking about data centers, and yeah, in the energy area, and also data really compensate emissions. No, but for me, the zero carbon's main emission is to reduce the carbon emission from digital industries. So today we are having at least 5 to 10% of global carbon emissions coming from digital industries and infrastructures and so on. So our main agenda is to reduce those emissions here. So yeah, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, yeah, you can ask me again.
Thank you. I see that Sahid raised his hands. You can go ahead, Sahid.
Yes, so just following up on what Rajesh was saying is about having a car, you know. There have been times I didn't have a car. And honestly, you don't miss it every day, you know. So I give you a very big personality. He's left us now, Steve Jobs. May he rest in peace. He sold his car to buy his first board to do his prototyping on, you know, beginning of Apple, you know. And they asked him, they said, because this is in California, when you, in those places, when you don't have a car, it seems like you're gonna die, you know. They say, what happened when you didn't have a car? He said, well, he went nowhere. He just paced the garage back and forth, you know. And what that does is actually it makes you think, do you really have to go somewhere? When you have to go somewhere, you plan it better, you utilize your time better actually when you have to do these things, you know. So I'm just following up on what I was just saying about owning transportation. You know, even here I know people who have their cars just parked on the side of the road. You know, every now and then they will jump in it and drive it, but do they really need it? You know, it's another thing. But we have an economy that has been built around. I mean, the car industries, they actually took active steps to defund the public transport system. Like in the US, they put money to elect councillors who can go in and vote down the budget to do maintenance on the public transport system. And then people lost faith in the public transport and it's bought cars. And today we have this big issue, basically. That's my comment.
Thank you, Saeed. Maybe you just noticed that I moved from place to place because of the sun. There is no sun here for 1 week, and now it just showed up. So I was a bit surprised. I'm in Munich. Maybe people don't know the region is very cold. Okay, great. So thank you, Saeed, for this great also share what you share with us. And now I will give, because we're running late now, I will give 2 minutes to every panelist to synthesize what have been said today, and also to share their views to complete maybe the presentation. So I will go with our first and keynote speaker, Rajeshwar. You can go for two minutes. Thanks.
Yeah, I would like to say that smart cities are good. The only thing is to reduction of emissions when you go to the future, and keeping mind of the future generations and the better planet and better people. So in that case, use the resources wisely, and utilize the smart technologies wisely, and make use of it in the smart cities, and collaborate and measure the progress, and get the things done, and make the world a better place with smart cities and zero mobility transition. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Rajeshwar, for this presentation, for your conclusion. Also, Saeed, can you go ahead, please?
Yeah, well, I can just say there have been, like John is saying in the chat there are other alternatives, you know. People are exploring hydrogen energy, hydrogen as a source of energy, you know. But again, you know, those things, the jury's out. What for smart city, okay, the whole thing has been in engineering, they come in and say, take out everything, we start afresh. It's not economic. The city has to pay, they have to raise taxes. It becomes very complicated. We look at, say, utilize your existing infrastructure more efficiently, you know. So like we actually want to work with cities, to capture the data from the existing infrastructure and use that to make some really good decisions, you know. Instead of putting in new stuff that we don't know, that new stuff got produced and carbon was generated, you know. So whether it's efficient, it's energy efficient today. Yes, the TV is energy efficient, but the production, you know, we don't know. Okay, it may also be energy efficient, but still there was carbon produced. But so if what you have today can be actually utilized much more efficiently, you know, and increase utilization, it can go a very long way for us to reduce the footprint. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed, for this for your presentation today, and also for the conclusion that you just shared with us. And now, Giuseppe, can you go for your conclusion, please?
Yeah. So I push forward the concept of the smart city forest. First of all, because it does the opportunity to compensate the impact within the city in direct mode. The second is for the collaboration, because we can generate carbon credit as well, and so we can generate a market engaging people, companies, cooperating with investment to regenerate the natural capital that is so important for the cities. Yeah, this is the message that I would like to leave it.
Thank you for all this contribution. Now we understand the challenge that we are facing. Smart cities can be for us a new way to live, and will be and has to be a new way to live, because we can't just continue to live how we live now. And I'm really grateful for you guys, the speakers, Saeed, Rajeshwar, Giuseppe, to sharing this. And this is because this is the last Smart Cities webinar of the year, and this is my third one. It goes very well. Everyone, we were so professional, so I thank you for that. Thank you for showing up. I also thank the public that were very active. Very great question. We had another meeting in the public chat actually, so it was great, entertaining, and I'm sure everybody learned a lot. So to talk about the next webinar, it will be on the 10th of January in Smart Cities. I will also, of course, send you the invite like I did, and we will be happy to have the public and also you, the speakers, coming up, showing up, and discuss about this relevant topic. Okay, don't forget also that we have the SDGs award that we reward for for participant of 10,000 euros. We don't give 10,000 euros, but we help you to improve your businesses. So I will explain it more, because after this webinar, I will send to all of you a follow-up meeting so we can discuss about this SDGs award. But now we are arriving at the end of the webinar, so I want to thank everyone to showing up today, and I'm sure we will cross our path again very soon, because we have to think about and to learn about, and also to manage how we can make our cities more smart. So thank you everyone for showing up today, and have a good week, and see you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
You are currently the only person in this conference.